I hate realtors. Imagine for a second you're early in your career and you're sitting in front of the biggest listing you've ever taken at the time. I think it was like $4.7 million. And the seller starts the conversation with, I hate realtors. I'd never use a realtor in my life. Never have, never would. What do you say in that situation? Well, I took a second to go through in my mind what I'd learned in real estate class, and I threw it all away. See, what most people teach you is how to do good objection handling, right? Object with somebody. Well, what should I have told them? Well, you should use me. I'm the best. I'm great, right? But the truth of the matter is, that's not what I chose to do. In fact, what I'd like to teach you right now is how to win customers who aren't ready to say yes. The secret, it's in alignment. We don't have to prove to them why the customer's wrong. Maybe they've got a legitimate point. Maybe there's something that they realized about what you're saying that just doesn't make sense to them and it needs more clarification. I said to him, I wouldn't hire a realtor either. I put on my old, I don't know why, but I put on a country voice for Walter. But it's like, I wouldn't use one either. Tell me why you wouldn't use one. He goes, oh, they're all lazy and they just collect a commission. He goes, I would never hire a lazy agent that just wanted to collect a commission. But I would hire an agent that actually worked hard and actually didn't take any money out of your pocket and put more money in your pocket. Wouldn't you want to hire somebody like that? So we just had a conversation. I didn't have to prove that he was wrong or I was right and he was wrong. The key is alignment. Listen, I don't care what your broker's telling you. He'll try to make you memorize 47 objection handling techniques, but the truth of the matter is it's 2022 or 3 or 4, whenever you're watching this video. And the truth of the matter is those things worked in the 1900s. They don't work anymore. People know when they're being sold or when they're being objection handled. So what I would tell you is find a way to align with the client, get more information, really get to know the person. They might actually have a good point. So thank you, Mr. Walter, for teaching me that lesson. Along that point, he taught me a few more. Don't be afraid of a big deal. You may not be the expert in every situation, but through the deal, you'll learn how to become an expert. You'll ask the right questions. You'll bring the right people in. So important. Don't go in it alone. Make sure that you bring somebody in who might be, the professional attorney or the accountant or, the right commercial agent or the person who's had a lot of experience in there and get their advice. Maybe partner with them on the deal. The consumer deserves to get the best possible result. And sometimes that means you may have to split the deal with somebody. Never be afraid to not be the expert in the deal. Look, Walter knew everything there was about mobile homes. I had never even walked into a mobile home before that. Look, he knew what they should rent for, what needed to be done, and what it takes to sell them. He sold mobile homes before. I had zero experience in that, but I did have experience in one thing, how to get the job done. So I asked him, hey, Mr. Walter, what did you do to sell your last one? Was it a great experience? Did you leave any money on the table? You know what he told me? He was like, yeah, I probably gave that one away. I kind of liked the guy, so I just gave him the deal. I threw everything in and blah, blah, blah. I probably could have made an extra $100,000, $200,000 on that deal. And I'm like, that's my commission you just gave away. I was like, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to protect you from you, Walter. The reality is, it's like you can just ask enough questions from your client to really get to know. For those of you guys who are working with investors out there, ask them, hey, just out of curiosity, what's your best investment? What's your worst deal? Tell me about your worst deal. Why is it your worst deal? Why was your best deal your best deal? Maybe your worst deal was because you got the wrong renter in there. Maybe the worst deal is a bad neighborhood. Maybe the worst deal is they paid too much on the front end. Maybe the worst deal was because they didn't really take a good analysis of what the rental rates were. Not sure. But once I find out the information about the worst deal, and we already know the information about the best deal, we can kind of take those worst deals and make them into the best deal by fixing some of those solutions that you just learned from the investor. Look. The education that you can get from your customer is second to none. They know what will make them happy and what will make them sad. So let's focus on making them happy. Why would you go in there just pretending you know how to make them happy? Why not just ask them? Hey, just curious, what would make this a win for you? Have you ever worked with a great agent? Have you ever worked with a terrible agent? Well, whatever that terrible agent is, I'm going to commit right now. Well, I'm not going to do that. I once asked that client that was like, hey, listen, have you ever worked with a bad agent before? He goes, I've worked with only bad agents. So tell me about that. He goes, well, they don't respond to me. I call them and they don't call me back and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I'm just curious, when's the perfect time to talk to you? He goes, well, I'd like to start my day early. It's like, if I can talk to him by 9 o'clock and feel like that's resolved already, I feel pretty good. So if we talked, how often before 9 a.m. would make you happy? He's like, well, just once a week. I was like, well, what day? He's like, Tuesdays. So we talked every Tuesday before 9 a.m. You'd be happy? And he goes, yeah. So I'll tell you what, I'll guarantee you we'll talk every Tuesday before 9 a.m. And if 1 week we miss that, I'll take $1,000 off my commission. Make sure the consumer knows that you're in this for them and you're willing to guarantee your results. Big deals create big opportunities, and the opportunity may be bigger than you think. Listen, he actually introduced me to many other clients just like him, which I have the privilege of serving. But Mr. Walter taught me that we had to look at the deal from the mindset of the buyer. What would make this an even better deal? The deal was probably around a 6 or 7, the way it was right now. So I asked Mr. Walter, I was like, what would make this deal even more attractive to a buyer? It's like, well, if I had my books in place. Okay, what else? Well, we'll probably have to clean up that area in the back to make it more marketable. Oh yeah, what else? What else? What else? And all we did was bullet point each one of those things so we can make the deal more profitable, make it more marketable. Then we brought in some other agents and say, hey, what do you guys think about this deal before I put it in the market? Is the pricing right? What do you think about this deal? And oh man, that pricing's right. All right, it's a little too low, it's a little too high. Get some feedback along the way. Big deals create big opportunities. Get more people involved. Make sure that you're not the only one looking at the deal. Make sure it's super profitable. This way you can earn your commission and never take money from the seller you didn't earn. And I think that's important to know. Like, our job is to add value, add money, add resources, create certainty, eliminate problems, protect the client, right? And while that comes at a high cost, it should be earned. I believe our job is to make sure we get the best property for the best price with the best protection. And the only way we can do that is by truly understanding the consumer's needs. Listen, I hung out with Mr. Walter for weeks and weeks and almost months before he even turned his mind into thinking that he might be willing to hire this realtor. I'm thankful for Mr. Walter for all he taught me on how to align and not object, on how to be creative and look for the best deal possible, how to get more people involved. And I would never have done that if I just didn't step up to the situation. Look, most agents wouldn't have shown up. Everyone knew he didn't hire realtors, but I showed up anyway. Have the courage to show up and present yourself as a winner. Hey, don't forget, you were born to be great. Take some action and get the results.